off the bat is a groggy Senate approves making daylight savings time permanent. So, firstly, I'm going to be honest. I don't even really understand the way daylight savings times work. I'm almost annoyed that they're going to make this change because I've got clocks in my house that are an hour wrong, and now 6 months from now they won't be correct. Like I don't know how to change clocks. Anyone else never change clocks? You just figure out at some point that that clock's an hour ahead, and then you just remember. I think every single year I've messed up daylight savings times. It was particularly funny in high school because that was the one time where I had to like show up to places in the morning. I never get it right. It's always funny when you show up an hour early at one point of the year and an hour late at some other point in the year. It was fun. It was like a good prank to see who else in your life is just retarded, but functionally retarded. So the Senate has approved getting rid of daylight savings time. Of course, it's the Democrats said, but, don't ask us to save on anything else. That's the end of it. Of course, Bernie Sanders going, we need to spend tomorrow's time to save the planet today. We got to spend that time. If we don't spend it, there won't even be a planet for people to enjoy the time. And now the White House apparently has not said whether Biden supports it. And what they mean by that is that the White House Commission for Presidential Napping hasn't figured out whether or not Biden's dementia schedule can figure out a change in an hour in the afternoon. They asked Biden, of course, he was, what? Hey, you're gonna change the time? It's gonna be sooner? What do you mean later? How's that gonna work? And then this is what's so great about this story. Even though it's nonsense, even though it's irrelevant, they still pull out all the stops. They still get their marketing teams. They still figure out how to dress this up, make it seem as intense as possible. The Senate approved the measure. This is from Reuters, called the Sunshine Protection Act. Isn't that incredible? They can't just call it, hey, you don't have to wake the fuck up or you get to sleep later. There's going to be the Sunshine Protection Act. The sun wasn't going to make it. Congress stepped in. They got their best scientists together. And now, thanks to the fact that we're going to be waking up either an hour earlier or later, as I said, I don't even know what the change is going to be. The sun will be protected. I don't know. And if you guys are protecting the sun, is that going to mean more global warming? I mean, the world's getting hot because we can't stop with these fossil fuels. And now you're going to protect the sun? Whose side are you taking here? Are you suddenly on side global warming? You trying to make the planet hotter on us? Here was some other incredible remarks from people trying to sell us on this need to change our clocks. So this was Beth Mallow. This is from Reuters once again. She's the director of the Vanderbilt Sleep Division. She argued that daylight savings times makes it harder to be alert in the morning, saying it's like living in the wrong time zone for almost 8 months of the year. And isn't it incredible how you can just find an expert on anything? If there's any change that you got to make in government, you can find some health expert that's going to tell you why people are dying. It's like if you wanted to outlaw, I don't know, watches, you'd find some wrist expert. And he's like, the little bit of weight on people's wrists, they're throwing them off balance. And I know that people just think it's only a wristwatch, but you're walking a little bit off balance. And that's why people are eating more food and everyone's getting fat. So if we're going to get the weight situation under control in this country, we got to get rid of wristwatches. It's throwing people off balance. You can find an expert on anything. They managed to find a sleep expert here who's willing to come in and make the claims that the 1 hour difference is like living in the wrong time zone for 6, and it doesn't correct at no point. And then when it changes, it's not like so for the entire 6 months, your body's out of whack because you're living in the wrong time zone. I think this was stated in Congress. The other person who was trying to sell this thing was Marco Rubio, who said there's strong science behind it that is now showing and making people aware of the harm that clock switching has. There's an increase in heart attacks, car accidents, and pedestrian accidents. And we all know how when they say listen to the scientists, they probably got the COVID team on this. The people that were making up COVID all year, they're the same people that are able to make it seem like there's an increase in heart attacks, car accidents, and pedestrian accidents. How much longer were you going to live if changing the clock an hour is giving you a heart attack? Well, if that's got to be like a morning thing where I guess like you're really used to sleeping to 8 a.m. and then your alarm clock goes off when it's 7 a.m. and you're just some old dude and you're like, it's the wrong time and you just croak. What strong science exists letting us know that us changing or maybe it's because of idiots like me at some point, like you actually have real responsibilities in life. And when you confront showing up to a place either an hour early or an hour late, maybe just right on the stop, or people are having accidents because they realize that they're an hour late for work. Maybe there is strong science. Maybe there are other dumbasses like me that get the time switching wrong every single year, and they actually live lives with serious responsibilities, so they get themselves into car accidents. It could be. And then, of course, people, they come in and they combat this. They go, all right, you're trying to say that this is going to save lives, that everyone waking up an hour earlier in the morning is going to make all the difference. Well, sleep experts say Senate has it wrong. Standard time. And even that, isn't it great how everyone's got propaganda that there's some other time that's considered standard time? I didn't even know that. So now we're competing standard time against save the sun time. So standard time, not daylight savings, should be permanent. Let's read a little bit of this article. It's a different team of experts. After Senate voted unanimously with little discussion Tuesday to make daylight savings time permanent, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, where was that other slut from? This is the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Which team of experts are you going to pick here? Issued a statement cautioning that the move overlooks potential health risks associated with that time system. The legislation, which would take effect next year, must get through the House and be signed by President Biden to become law. We do applaud stopping the switching during the course of the year and settling on a permanent time, said Jocelyn Chang, a member of the AASM's Public Safety Committee. But she added, how much does that lady get paid to come to the conclusion that we should have one permanent time? All this switching, it's chaos. Once a year, making a switch to the clocks, we can't handle it. But she added, standard time for so many scientific and circadian rationales and public health safety reasons should really be what the permanent time is set to. Doesn't it almost seem like there's two different crews of demons that seem to want to orchestrate the world under one, and like they've got their different teams of scientists? All right, let's continue. The AASM made this stance clear in 2020 when it released a position statement recommending that the country institute year-round standard time. Its reasoning in part is that standard time is more closely associated with humans' intrinsic circadian rhythm. All right, it's enough of that. Let the conspiracy theories begin. Let people start pondering what's your best conspiracy theory for why all of a sudden, after all these years, they're going to get rid